It's time to connect to Congress, a segment where we talk directly to Washington lawmakers who represent us here in the central San Joaquin Valley. Right now, we're talking with Democratic Representative of California's 21st Congressional District, Jim Costa, live from his office in Washington, D.C. Congressman Costa, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Kim. As I say, it's always great to be on Great Day with you.
Sadly, in the wake of Charlie Kirk assassination, so many people are wondering about a rise in political violence and the concerns of what steps could Congress take to address this without undermining free speech.
Well, I think it's important for all elected officials to remind ourselves and those that we serve that as Americans, we share far more in common than what our differences is. And that rhetoric today that inflames people's emotions, our free speech is a critical element to America's foundation. Today is Constitution Day, by the way. And remember that whatever differences we have as Americans, that we share far more in common, beginning with our Constitution when it says those most important words, we the people. We the people must resolve our differences through peaceful debate and dialogue, as Charlie Kirk did. It was horrific to see witness this assassination, and we mourn for the loss of his life and for his family. But clearly, we should take this as an opportunity to also heal and remind that as Americans, again, we share far more in common than our differences is. A total of over 3,500 people have been killed by politically motivated attacks since 1975. That's an outrageous number, and threats to members of Congress lives have increased by over 300%. And such that they're advising members of Congress not to appear in large events where there are many people. I cherish my ability every day and every week to go home and to be with my constituents. So I don't think that's a solution, but we must remember that violence has no place in our political debate, our discourse.
While you were talking, we were showing video of the attack of Governor Shapiro's house as well as former House Speaker Pelosi. So I just want to clarify to our viewers in case they're wondering why we were showing that. Do you believe that current laws are sufficient? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I said it's important that you show that because there's a lot of finger pointing and blame taking place right now. And the reality is sadly there's been political violence on both sides of the political spectrum.
Right. Do you believe that current laws are sufficient to protect public figures? You know, the president is talking about, or the Republicans are talking about adding more security in this new funding bill. Do you think that this needs to be addressed?
I think it can be helpful, and there is a bipartisan effort both in the House and the Senate to do just that, not only for members of Congress, but for the Supreme Court. And it's a sad commentary that in this day and age that we have to think about that. But frankly, you know, having had multiple threats on my own life and having my staff to have to deal with it as recently as this week, it's something that we can probably do a better job. We certainly notify local law enforcement when I attend events where there are going to be large gatherings. But there are limitations, and frankly, I like to be with people, and I like to be with folks back home, and I will always do that because that's, I think, an important way in which I can listen to people and hear their views and be able to communicate.
I do want to ask you about rural AI infrastructure, but first I must ask you, and we only have a little over a minute and a half, do you think that Congress can see a realistic path in avoiding a government shutdown with this continuing resolution?
I sure hope so. You know, government shutdown I have always been very critical of. But I think to ensure that we don't shut down government, we have to have a bipartisan cooperation, and that's been lacking so far. In the past, Democrats have provided the majority of the votes to, in recent years, avoid that government shutdown. But there has been a lack of communication, and we're not at the table on the negotiation of this current continuing resolution. We must be, or otherwise the Republicans will have to figure out a way to pass it on their own.
Okay, and now to that rural AI infrastructure. I want to know, how do you balance the push for innovation with concerns about energy use and even community impact?
Well, artificial intelligence is going to be a big part of our future, and there's so many potential benefits. There are also some concerns that many of us have about some of the downsides. But artificial intelligence and artificial generic intelligence in rural areas is critical. But we've got to take, and I've introduced legislation to do a study for rural areas, the cost of energy and the impacts on water usage. And we need to take those things into account as we look at hopefully creating data centers here in the Valley that will benefit our economy and advance artificial intelligence for the benefits of our people.
All right. Congressman Costa, thank you very much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you always.
Great day. We'll be right back.